This conference will now be recorded.
Hello, I'm Barbara Scott. I'm chair of the Association of Reproductive Reflexologists. I'm also author of Reflexology for Fertility, a practitioner manual for reproductive reflexologists. And I'm also, among many other things, a clinician, an author, a teacher, and a lecturer. And I'm in the middle at the moment of undertaking a PhD in the hope that what we can do is provide some more evidence base for the work that we do. But I'm absolutely delighted to be here today and to have the opportunity to just talk to you a little bit about what reproductive reflexology is. Some of you will already know that reflexology is a form of complementary medicine that involves working with the feet and the hands. It can be a bit of a strange concept here in the West, but it's something that has been used as a modality, as a form of helping us to get well for several thousand years. So it runs alongside acupuncture. I think most people will have either be aware of or have experienced acupuncture. And acupuncture and reflexology were part of the same modality many years ago, and they've just kind of taken their own each individual path, and reflexology has developed as a form of treatment on its own. So for those of you who don't know what reflexology is, the actual treatment itself involves working on tiny little reflex points, either on your feet or your hands, although there you can also work ears. And by working on those little tiny reflex points, we do something that is very similar to acupuncture. So it's about encouraging the body to kind of make itself well in a way. It seems quite bizarre to us in Western society, but the effects of it are now starting to be backed up with some really very good, robust pieces of research. And so we're starting to see lots of integrative approaches to using this as a modality. And reproductive reflexology is absolutely what that is about. It's a very much an integrative, evidence-based approach to working with patients, clients who have either a reproductive condition or are having difficulties conceiving. And of course, both those things run alongside each other. The two can impact upon each other. And so what we do is we use this very robust method of helping us to identify where the issues might be, and therefore allowing us to use very structured protocols to improve outcomes. And that means not just working with women, it means working with men too, because we very much understand that you men are really very important and sadly at times get overlooked. So it's important for men to realize just how much an important part of the picture you are. One of the things that we like to do is, even in really complex cases, we like to run a very robust consultation. And that means going right back to basics, because even in the more complicated scenarios, quite often we find that some of the really simple things that could be corrected get overlooked. Now, that might mean that some patients are then able to go on to conceive naturally, but it also means that any assisted reproductive techniques you have, whether that's medication or IVF, it improves the outcomes for those forms of intervention. So it means that what happens is we like to make sure that when you're either trying to conceive naturally or you're going through any form of assisted support, that you go into it in the very, very best place possible. And so a lot of the work that we do, as I say, is about going back to basics, and it's also about education. It's about helping you as individuals to understand how your body works from a reproductive point of view. And also what we like to do is give you tools and techniques that are going to help you to feel much better and also improve your reproductive health, which in turn improves your chances of succeeding. So one of the questions that we do get asked, of course, is how successful is this as a form of treatment? And a few years ago, what we did as an organisation is that we undertook a data collection. So we had lots of anecdotal evidence about how successful this was as a form of treatment. But as a body of practitioners, the chair of association, the Association of Reproductive Reflexologists, we had practitioners that were able to evidence-base what they were doing, and that were also using very structured protocols, and that allowed us to measure outcomes. So one of the first things we did was we took everybody that was being treated. We had just over 180 patients, and what we did was we put all of those into one pot, and they were aged from, I think, 24 to 46, and we looked at them to see what our success rate was. So that's a really wide age range, and we didn't at that point start to identify what various conditions and the impacts they might have. So the success rate for that was 68%. So that meant by putting everyone in this big pot, we got a success rate of 68%, which we were really quite surprised at, because I mean, I'm sure most of you who are already undergoing treatment or trying to conceive will know that success rates in assisted conception are quite low generally. So we were really thrilled with that. And then what we did was we started to break the data down into various conditions. So we looked at things like the impact that endometriosis might have, polycystic ovarian syndrome, amenorrhea, so women who are not having any bleeds at all, ovarian cysts. We looked at male factor issues, so poor motility, poor morphology, and then started to extract different pieces of data, all with very similar success rates. So some slightly lower. I think our lowest success rate was 57%, some much higher. So you know, certainly in women who had amenorrhea, for example, the success rate was in the high 80s, early 90%. And in women who had things like progesterone deficiency or a luteal phase defect, also a much higher success rate, because they were much easier to treat. So that was undertaken a few years ago, and our work has developed since then, and we over the years have formed lots of collaborations with medical professionals. So what that means is we like to make sure that our clients are undertaking and having the most appropriate tests for them. So although we are all reproductive reflexologists, our role actually goes way beyond just providing reflexology, and we are passionate about making sure that clients get access to tests that are going to help to move things forward for them. So we do lots of work certainly in the initial consultation process, and beyond that if necessary, to make sure that things that might have been missed are addressed. So sometimes we refer clients back to their GPs to get relevant tests. We may refer our lovely males onto andrologists to get further robust testing if things have been missed. And we refer on to local resources and fertility clinics further afield to provide a treatment that probably is more appropriate for those very individual circumstances. So we have a very individualized approach for each of our our patients that come to see us. It isn't really a one size fits all. It is come and see us, come and talk to us. Where are you now? Tell us what's been happening. How are you feeling? What has happened to get you to this point? So maybe what has your journey been so far? What kinds of intervention, what kind of tests have you had so far? And then that allows us to treatment plan. So what we do at initial consultation is just talk you through the kinds of things that you might want to go on and explore in further detail. Maybe, as I was saying earlier, little things that might have been skipped, that might have been missed, and therefore might help you to discover something that may be causing an issue that might be fairly easily remediable. And then once we've done our treatment planning, we work very individually with each of you, male or female. As I was saying earlier, very structured treatment protocols that help us to improve outcomes. With women, we're really passionate about making sure your menstrual cycle is functioning effectively. And I would say, sadly, quite a lot of the information that we're taught in school is not correct. So what we like to do is actually work with each individual woman and help her to identify what's happening with her cycle, because every single woman is individual. Every single menstrual cycle will be completely different, and understanding the component parts and making sure all the component parts are working as effectively as they should be is really important. And so we like to do that. Whether you're undergoing assisted conception or just trying naturally, those key things are really important. And we also need to work with our males to make sure that they've got really robust, well-moving, well-formed sperm that don't have any issues with DNA. And so again, what we do is we treatment plan, and we suggest not just reflexology, but for both male and female, a range of very sensible supplements that might help, changes in lifestyle maybe, or diet, just simple things that can make a huge difference and actually put clients in the driving seat. They put you back in control. Those pieces of information are about empowering you as clients, to allow you to do things that are going to improve your outcomes. So it's a very comprehensive approach, which, as I say, is based in reflexology, but isn't just about reflexology. And quite often we will do consultations and uncover lots of things that need addressing that aren't necessarily complicated. And sometimes just one of those things can be the key that opens the door to improving outcomes for patients. So that's just a kind of whistle-stop tour, really, of what we do as practitioners and a little bit about our background. If you do want to know a little bit more, we do have practitioners globally, quite a lot of practitioners, obviously in the UK and Ireland, some in Europe, in Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and some in America as well. So we do have, as I say, practitioners all over the world. And if you do want some more information about them, we do have a website, which is just reproductivereflexologists.org, where you'll find out lots more about how we work. If you want a little bit more information about me and my practice, then you can get hold of me at Seren, so it's S for sugar, EREN, naturalfertility.co.uk. And I'd be delighted to hear from you if you have questions, or if there's anything else you'd like to know. I know that I'm going to be available for a little Q&A session after, and I would be delighted to answer any questions that you have. So thank you for listening to my whistle-stop tour of reproductive reflexology, and I wish you all every success on your own fertility journeys. Thank you for listening.